Maybe. Awesome. We are live. Sorry, we are a couple minutes late, but trust me, it will be worth it. How are you, my dear?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's a Monday, but that's all right.
It
It was
is
a
a
long
Monday.
weekend.
Well, welcome everyone to the Beyond Nutrition Community Podcast. We are so glad you are here with us today. So, we're your co host. I'm Sherry,
And I'm Becky.
and we're excited to bring you another inspiring conversation. So, just to kind of give you a background, we're just two women who lived the burnout, right? And the unhealthy life where we questioned the noise and found our way back to a slower, more human pace of healing. Look, we're not here to preach perfection. We're here to walk with you as you learn to trust your body and honor nature's rhythms and create a sustainable health in every part of your life. So, if you're craving real conversations that feel grounded and honest and deeply supportive, you are in the right place. So, today we're going to sit back down with somebody that's been on our podcast already, Kalika Dawson. Now, Kalika is a creator who has shared raw, real, and motivating content centered around self love, mindset, and personal transformation. Her social media pages highlight a powerful fitness and healing journey showing growth from physical setbacks to major milestones to recently completing a 5K and pushing herself in the gym. Alongside fitness, she emphasizes mental strength, positivity, and choosing yourself, often encouraging others to get up and get over it and get after it. Her message blends resilience, healing, and discipline, making her story very inspiring and very relatable. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Welcome.
I've known Kalika. Let's see, how long have we known each other now?
Since 2017.
Is it been that long?
Yeah, it's almost been
Wow.
10 years.
Wow. You've been stuck with me that long. That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Well, so just to bring the audience up to speed, for those that don't know you, tell the audience who you are.
I am a 46-year-old woman that discovered herself about 14 years ago and decided I wanted to change and decided to change my life. And it's been nothing but positivity since then.
So, how would you describe yourself beyond what people see on social media?
I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a dog and cat lover. I'm artistic in several forms. I'm a barber, is my main job, and then I have hobbies. I love barbering. I love making people feel better about themselves sitting in my chair. Sometimes they come to get a hair wash while my wife braids them. Sometimes they actually sit in my chair to get haircuts. And people that don't sit in my chair, I always look at it as like they missed out on something that God needed them to hear for the day. And I don't get upset by it. It is what it is. You're not meant to be in my chair. I do nails also. I'm a nail tech as well. And I paint for fun. I'm a grandma of a 6-year old. Um, just living my life, just happy.
Well, that's how we met. I was in your chair. You were going to school.
I was getting licensed
So,
in the state of Texas
yeah.
when I met you.
You were, and so that's how we met, and, I stuck with you the whole time, and then you became an instructor, and
Yep.
then I would come in and you would still get hold of my hair, which I was so thankful for. So what inspired you to start sharing your journey on social media?
It was honestly to hold myself accountable. Believe it or not, it was to hold myself. My wife asked me that recently. She's like, "Why do you always post?" And I'm like, "It's to hold me accountable because if I'm posting, then I'm doing what I need to be doing to show consistency will win the battle. No matter how fast you start or how slow you start, as long as you are consistent, it will happen."
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
And that's why many of us end up and originally got started, right? Was just to be accountable, because back in the day there weren't accountability sites, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so prior to social media and keeping yourself accountable, what did life look like for you?
I actually started this when social media started like going crazy. Back when, believe it or not, when Facebook just started, I started originally posting on just Facebook. And then it became Facebook and Instagram, and then it became Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So I started this around the same time. And back to what I said, it was to hold me accountable.
So, what challenges have you had to overcome to get where you're at today? Because like I said, we've known each other since 2017, so I've seen a lot of changes, right? And I've seen you battle some health issues and things like that. But tell the audience about some of the challenges.
So I originally started losing weight in 2010. More of a challenge for myself to see if I could do it because I'd done it for years. And I had a fire lit under me, and something was said to me. It hurt, but I always was always raised, if it didn't hurt, then it wasn't the truth, right? So that was the statement that was. Sorry, I have a dog, big dog too. Anyways, that was the fire that started this whole mission. It was a seeing, okay, I know what they said out of love. I know they said it out of love. Delivery may have been off, but it's what I needed to start me on this journey. So I never hold what was said against anybody, because how I was taught to deliver something may be different than the next. So for me, it was, let's see if I can lose 100 pounds. So I lost 100 pounds first. I completely changed my diet completely. And then had one skin surgery to remove 100 pounds of just skin and 25 pounds of fat that was attached to the skin. So I ended up not having a belly button out of that procedure because I had a hernia through my belly button. And then I kept eating the same, kept seeing everything the same, and nothing worked. Saw dietitians, saw doctors, nothing. Nothing. They kept telling me, keep doing what you're doing, stay the course. So in 2013, the end of 2013, my wife was like, okay, you've seen dietitians, you're still seeing a dietitian, you're still seeing doctors, you're still not losing weight. What can I do to help you? And I said, I really don't know. So she scheduled me with a gastric bypass doctor, and we went and saw him. And he said, you have done everything that you're supposed to do. There's just nothing else you can do besides having surgery. So in January of 2014, I had gastric Y surgery. And then 2 weeks later, I was put back in the hospital. Um, During this whole process, I had all my labs done. Everybody was like, you're good. You're not allergic to anything. Well, come to find out, the iodine they have you drink, I was allergic to. And they have you drink iodine to see if everything's properly sealed. So if you don't drink iodine, they have not completed you've not done it properly. So I had to drink iodine. It was properly sealed. But by the time I went from getting an x-ray back up to my room, I literally looked like somebody had taken a red Sharpie from the corner of my lips and colored me red the rest of my body. And nobody could tell me what was wrong. I didn't itch. Nothing changed in the hospital after having surgery. 2 weeks later, I go back because I'm now no longer drinking. After having gastric bypass, I'm no longer eating anything at this point because you're supposed to eat soft foods. So my doctor has me come see him. He's like, I don't know what's wrong. I was like, I don't know what's wrong either. So he's like, let's go do an endoscopy. I get an endoscopy done. He's like, we have to have surgery. Why? He's like, because you are blistered from literally from the back of your throat all the way to the end. I said, what do you mean all the way to the end? He's like, it goes in and comes out. You're blistered entirely in the inside of your body. So I had an allergic reaction. I had to stay another 2 weeks in the hospital till that healed. And then in December of that same year, I just got sick out of nowhere, like sick as a dog, running a fever. I had a good gallbladder, had no gallbladder problems prior to surgery, had it checked in the 6 months after I had surgery. So by December, 6 months later, I'm now sick as a dog and we can't figure out what's wrong. give me an ultrasound, and come to find out, my gallbladder's on the verge of rupturing. So I had to have emergency surgery. He's like, I need to admit you now. No, you can't. My wife is deployed. My children are at school. I am a single mom right now. I live in a state where I have nobody else to come help me. And the closest one to come help me is 8 hours away. You have to give me till tomorrow so I can have somebody help me. And literally the very next day I had surgery to have my gallbladder removed. And he was glad I did then, because he said I wouldn't have made it through the weekend. So had my gallbladder removed, still taking my drinks, still eating, still losing weight. Then I had stomach issues, and I talked to doctors for years. Something's wrong. I'm getting lightheaded. I'm passing out all the time. I can't seem to keep my balance. My heart hurts. They say if you had a stroke, I've already had a stroke. I had a stroke before I ever started losing weight. So they were like, you could be on the verge of another one. I was hooked up to a heart monitor for 6 months. Most people do it for a weekend. I was up to it for 6 months trying to figure out what was wrong with my heart, and nobody could tell me. Come to find out, I had neuropathy. It was causing an effect on my heart. It was causing an effect on my body. And it was causing me to pass out. So then they put me on the lowest dosage, which is 300 milligrams. And at one point with Sherry, I was up to 3,000 milligrams of gabapentin a day. And I was functioning normally. Like people are like, how do you, I burn medicine really easy, really fast. I can't explain it. I've always been like that. It's probably because I'm a ginger at heart. Gingers typically, scientifically, burn through medicine faster than any other person on the market, basically. So I just burn through it faster than anybody. I then had to have a colonoscopy. Found out that I had a tumor in my colon that was almost the size of a tennis ball. And it was on the verge of rupturing, and the casing, the skin that covered it had no cancer, but once they cut it open, the biopsy of it showed that it was stage 4 cancer, colon cancer. So I went through a bout of medication to clear up my colon, clear up my body from colon cancer. Got a clean screening for the first 6 months, got another polyp, tested negative after that. So then I had to get colonoscopies every 6 months. I have been having colonoscopies up until 2 years ago, every 6 months, because 3 years ago, I'm sorry, it was 3 years ago, because they were afraid. And I told everybody I'm not passing. I was given passing bowel movement stuff all the time. It wasn't working. Nobody ever talked to me about healing my gut. Not one person ever talked to me about healing my gut and how much that would make a difference later down the road. Then I had to have a hysterectomy because women who have colon cancer, their likelihood of getting cervical cancer increases by 50%. So I had a hysterectomy, which was perfectly fine. My children are grown. I didn't want any more children. Take the parts, they're not working right. I don't need them. Have fun. I was left my ovaries so I can have hormones still. Okay, good.
Well, I'm going to stop you for a moment. I'm going to show everyone this picture. That was you in January of 2014.
That was the day I woke up to go have gastric bypass. I weighed 658 pounds before I had gastric bypass. When I had gastric bypass, I weighed 438 pounds. So in that picture, I weighed 438 pounds.
Isn't that amazing? All right, continue, because I wanted the audience to see kind of like where you started. And that wasn't even where you started, because you were larger yet.
Yes, ma'am. I refuse to give up. I refuse to give up on myself. I refuse to give up on my body. And I get why people say all the time, I never had these health problems as a bigger person, because I never did. But there was underlying health problems, and that's what people don't understand. There's something underlying when you are that obese and that overweight, that you have to get that excess off for your body to say, hey, I'm struggling. We need help. And so I had my hysterectomy. I've had I've I've not had my neuropathy medicine in forever.
Wow.
Like a solid 3 years. A solid 3 years I've been completely off of it. And that's all from diet and exercise and taking my supplements.
So, what does your routine kind of look like, as far as you said? You had the gastric, right? So, what
Mhm.
is your routine, your nutrition? Do you eat just smaller meals through the day? Are you eating something specific? What does that routine kind of look like?
So I have a high protein, it's not a carnivore diet. I just have a high protein diet where my diet consists of 50% protein. And then I break up the other 50% between my fats and my carbs because we all know you need carbs to burn fuel. You just need the right carbs at the right time of the day to burn the fuel that you need. So for me, I typically try to get about 200 grams of protein in a day. Um, that's my goal. I typically get to about 180, 190, depending on the day. Like today, I am currently at 145 already, and I haven't even had dinner yet. So I'm very mindful. We just got back from a family reunion, and I was very mindful of what I took with me. And with what I took with me was just my supplements and my protein drink. I still, to this day, have my morning protein coffee a couple times a day, but I just don't have the extra sugars. I was very specific with the protein that I went with because I needed it to be third party tested to make sure I'm getting the ingredients that it says I'm getting and I'm not getting extras or metals in because I'm so conscious about what I digest now because of all my health problems I've had. So for me, I get up within 30 minutes of waking up. I am having my protein coffee in the morning within 30 minutes. I'm like I said, I'm 46, so women over 40 need to be doing something protein for your first thing in the morning, anyways. Um, so I have my protein in the morning, and then I get up after that. I go to the gym. I spend 25 to 30 minutes in the sauna, pre workout. I spend an hour exercising with my wife. Mondays and Wednesdays there's lower body, and Tuesdays and Thursdays upper body. Um, I eat ridiculous. Right now it's like crazy because I'm always been a salad eater, and with the salad not being good right now, I'm like, you guys are killing me. It just means more cucumbers hurt my feelings because I love cucumbers too. I drink because I am a gastric bypass patient. My stomach has remained small, um, so I can only drink up to 80 ounces of water daily. So I have several Stanleys, ones that are just for my coffee and ones that are just for my water, and I stay hydrated all the time. I get made fun of because they're like, "You got a new cup? Leave me alone about my cups, okay? At least I'm drinking."
But but I just want to point that out also for anyone that is listening. Even as a gastric, having a smaller stomach, you're still getting 80 ounces of fluid
Yep.
because there's a lot of people that don't have gastric that aren't even hitting that. And so, many people end up in need that hydration. That is one side where people are naturally dehydrated because they're just simply not drinking enough. And it does interfere if you're not getting enough fluids with your progress.
And I take electrolytes. Like my two jugs of water, one is electrolytes with a water flavor, a sugar-free water flavor, and then the other one is just a sugar-free water flavor. And the reason why is I was just explaining this to someone the other day. As a gastric bypass patient, because my stomach is smaller, I can drown myself
Hmm.
if I'm especially having an electrolyte and drinking all the water that I'm drinking. I can drown myself. And like, well, aren't you drowning? No, because I'm still in the sauna. So I'm still sweating out the extra water that I'm technically drinking, but I still have to stay hydrated. One, for my muscles, two, for my health, and three, we need it to survive.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
93% water. We need to keep adding back to it.
Yeah. You definitely end up and can deplete with just plain water. So yes, electrolytes, minerals, those do become very important.
And then I also I take my supplements twice a day. I have a batch that I take in the morning before I go to the gym, and then I have a batch I take in the evening before I go to bed. I make sure that everything is, the brands that I use for my supplements are third party tested. Once again, I'm very specific about what I take into my body. That way, I'm making sure I'm getting the proper dosage that I'm supposed to be getting, so my body can absorb it. Because there's not just a need for people to understand that it's third party tested, but it also needs to be absorbable. Because how much of your body you have, how much of these vitamins and supplements that you're taking is your body actually absorbing? So that is also something I'm very mindful of when I take my supplements and when I picked my supplements. I've gone through a lot of them. I used to be on 32 medication pills a day. 32. I do not take one. Now, I may have 32 vitamins and supplements I take daily, but that was on top of already the medication that I was taking. So now it's just my supplements that I take daily.
And that's truly amazing because I advocate, and anyone that has watched our podcast knows my feelings towards supplements. I'm not anti-supplement. I think they do have a time and a place, but also, I feel like many in the functional holistic space are turning into allopathic medicine and prescribing supplements just like they did prescriptions. So that's great that you too are off of prescriptions. I am as well. Didn't have near as many as you. I only had 7, but I am off of them and and I don't, other than the minerals and the electrolytes, because that's just something we can't get no matter how quality our nutrition is. We're not going to be able to get all the nutrients that we need from even the most diverse diet, right? And so I do supplement electrolytes, and I have a mineral resin that I use. But as part of the fitness, I know you said that you go to the gym with your wife. And what part of your fitness journey and the way that you've been able to continue to push yourself has surprised you most about what your body is actually capable of?
So when we moved to Houston, everybody met me, and this is when I met Sherry. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, right now I'm just going to the gym on my own." And I said, "But I am possibly looking into a personal trainer." I said, "Because I like to learn, so they could teach me something that I don't already know." So there was a new gym opening right around the corner from where I worked at the cosmetology school that I met Sherry at. And my wife is my biggest supporter, has always been my biggest supporter. So one of my coworkers was like, "They're having a free event. I want to go." Well, I at the time was not going to a gym that I didn't know nothing about. But I have this 5'3" badass of a wife. And she's my biggest supporter. And I worked the hours they were going to have this event. So I was like, "Can you go and see about the gym?" So my wife went, and she fell in love with the gym. She fell in love with a trainer. He just was not comfortable because of how much problems I was having. Because during that time frame, Sherry can remember, I was walking around with a full leg brace because I lost the ability to use my leg, and nobody could tell me why.
Yep.
And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to see a personal trainer, is because I'd seen physical therapists. Nobody could tell me. I'd seen doctors. Nobody could tell me. Maybe there is something they may know that I am missing in this puzzle. So my wife went, she fell in love with it. She's like, "But he's not comfortable doing it." But his best friend / sister is a prior diabetic person who's no longer on diabetes. And she did it by health and exercise, or diet and exercise. And I said, "Okay, I'll try her out." I fell in love with her, and I spent the first 3 years with her. Well, everybody moves on. She decided, she wanted to be a mommy. Congratulations. I'm super happy for her. She has a beautiful little man. And so she was like, "I'm going to pass you on back to the original person that I was originally going to go to." And he took me on because he had seen my journey with we call her sister, his sister. And he knew that I would put in the work that was needed. So I spent a year by myself driving. I live in Spring. I spent a year driving from Spring all the way darn near to like, where is it? It's like Rice Village area to go to the gym with him because it was that important for me to get my health and learn something new. And I spent a year with him just learning how to properly lift weights. Where with his sister, I did more of which a HIIT exercise, which is high intensity training. With him, I did more, and I call it heavy circles, lifting heavy circles. So I learned how to properly form myself and to lift weights with the right form and continue to keep that form while exercising. So after spending a year, my wife's like, okay, I want to come join you again. I miss going to the gym with you. So we spent another year together with him 3 days a week going to the gym. And he literally helped me learn how to properly lift weights. And that has been one of the greatest joys that I've experienced throughout this, not just physically transforming, but learning how to properly lift weights, how to properly carry myself with those weights, to perform them, not to perfection, but to my body's ability. And I have to say that's so fun now that I can, when I say, oh, I've gone up in weight, or I can push more weight, or I've done a leg press stronger than I did with him. And to this day, I still text him because he's no longer my coach. He just checks in on me as a personal trainer. He just checks in on me. And then he'll ask for certain videos to see how my form is when I'm trying something new or doing something new to make sure that I'm still doing it in proper form. And he has yet to say, fix that, fix this, because he did so well at teaching me.
That's awesome. That's so amazing because a lot of people just, don't even start, right? They don't know where to start, one. And so what advice would you give someone who feels kind of intimidated by starting their own journey?
Just do it. Get out of your head. And that's the biggest problem is people are more in their head than they realize. Get out of your head. Find something to keep you accountable and just do it. Because there is no growth if you stay still. You have to progress. And the only way to progress is by being uncomfortable.
So, what motivates you on the days that you aren't feeling it?
You know what? That recently happened. That recently happened about 2 weeks ago. I woke up. I didn't want to do it. And then I was sitting there and I was just doom scrolling. 7 o'clock in the morning, just doom scrolling. And my wife goes, you want to go to the gym? And I was like, you know what? Why not? It's early. Let's go early. And I got to the gym and I was like, man, I just don't want to be here today. And that's when that moment set in. And I was like, and then part of me was like, Heifer, you already here. You might as well do it. So for me, my reward is gym clothes. Like I have got a serious addiction to gym clothes right now. And that has been my fun thing. Like I didn't know I was going to love finding gym clothes for me that fit me and helped me. I'm enjoying that. I'm definitely enjoying that. Do I wear it all day? Nope. I wear it to travel in, and then I wear it to the gym and come home, and then I'm in my regular clothes.
Oh, I love that. So, I'm going to go back for a minute. You were talking about when you and I met, you were wearing the brace. You also had to sit.
Yep.
So, like, she would be doing my hair, and in the middle of it, have to go sit down. And that was big because the school didn't allow that, right?
Yeah.
You had to get like a doctor's note or something,
I
I
had to get a
think.
doctor's note and everything to
Yeah.
prove that because of my leg, could only stand and walk so many feet every day, sit for so long because we couldn't figure out why my leg just. I literally woke up one day and it did not work.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I remember that. So this could be I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna have you answer it. What's been your proudest accomplishment so far in this healing journey?
Losing 438 pounds.
Isn't that amazing?
Not just losing 438 pounds, but I lost almost 9 inches in my neck, 30 inches in my chest, 48 inches in my stomach, 32 inches in my hips, 6 in my left arm, and 7 in my right.
So I'm showing the pictures. So the reason we were a few minutes late tonight was because you sent me these next few pictures I'm going to show. So
Yes, ma'am.
tell us about them. This is neat.
So I've always stood in the same position since the very beginning because I wanted people to know because I knew I was going to physically change. I knew I was going to change. So this picture that you see right now is got a it's a fairy that I have on my left arm. And it's on the same left arm in that picture on the other side. You just can't see it because I cropped me over it so you could shadow see me. The picture in the back is the day of surgery of, as you can see the background picture.
Hmm.
Same position, same stance. I have changed drastically over the past years, from 2014 till now, almost 20 years.
And that's amazing. And I mean, let alone just what we can visually see, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also the mindset difference in, that we can't see, right? That is the biggest piece that we can't put into pictures. We can end up in shadow. But one thing that we can see through content that you're putting out, right, is your mindset has changed and the message of choosing yourself. And I mean, it goes to show that you are putting yourself first, and you're putting that right, because that you made the comment, and that's one of the hardest things for people to see is you you knew, right? It wasn't, well, if I change or when I change. It's, I'm gonna change, right? And so you're going into that with, you're manifesting that mindset. And so um what does that mean to you by choosing yourself first?
That means in order for me to be the best wife I can be, I have to take care of myself first. In order to be the dog mom that I need to be, I need to take care of myself first. Same as far as being a sister, because I can't be the sister that's going to be around to help my siblings in their journey in life. When my sons decide to grow up and, move on with their life, I can't be the mom if I'm not taking care of me first. And I love them enough to say no. I love myself enough to say no. I have the determination to put something down when I'm done. Like, another big accomplishment for me, and I don't know about a lot of people, is when I was growing up, you finished your plate.
Mm-hmm.
You were required to finish your plate for food, right? So the biggest thing that I had to do was learn to eat on a smaller plate. So I started this whole journey eating on a kid's plate with a kid's fork, with a kid's spoon, to relearn to enjoy food, right? You have to learn, and I say it all the time, you have to learn your kitchen before you can learn anything else, because no matter how much time and effort and energy you put in the gym, if you are not taking care of your kitchen, you will never be successful at this. So learn the foods for your body. What works for me may not work for everybody else. What works for you may not work for everybody else. So you have to learn what your body accepts and what your body doesn't accept, and run with that. And it'll constantly change. Like, what I could eat 3 years ago, I can't eat now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am from the Pacific Northwest. I'm where Seattle started Starbucks, okay? So I used to have, God is my witness, I used to have 7 frappuccinos a day before I started this, okay? I had to really go back and look because I really wanted to know how much money I spent before I started this journey, right? And thank God Starbucks has always had an app, because I could tell you I went back. I am now, and I maybe have a Starbucks on a Saturday. When I was on vacation, because of my protein coffee, I was limited on what I could travel with. So I just took my protein with me, and then I went to Starbucks and had them alter my drink and just shook my protein with Starbucks coffee in it. So I could keep my sugars low, still have my protein coffee, still have my I love coffee. I will die, put it in an IV in my arm, and I'm good. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it needs to be a healthier version. So for me, it's learning what worked for me and my body, and enjoying this whole process because I don't regret nothing, not a single thing. Do I wish that this journey, I'm an impatient person. I will not lie to you. Sherry knows this. I am very impatient. I like instant results. So this whole journey has really taken me on a journey of patience because I am not shaping the way I expected my body to shape. But then I have to remind myself, woman, you didn't put this on in 60 days. You didn't put 658 pounds on your body in a year. You did it over years and years of abuse. So it's going to take years and years and years to recover. Not just the abuse of food, but the abuse of mentally and physically that I put on myself and learning to heal the little person inside of me, I guess.
Mhm.
That's been fun because I can eat and put stuff away. Like, I literally look at the ingredients. I look at what's a serving size. I'm not going to lie to you, my midnight snack is 2 York peppermint patties when I have those moments because there's serving sizes too. And guess what? I eat two and I'm good. I don't really like to eat a lot of carbs at night, so I'm very selective of my carbs at night because I do work later at night and I eat when I get home. So I'm very conscientious of what I eat, when I eat it. Um, People are like, you should write a book. No, because it worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for
Yeah.
you.
So let's talk about the 5K
Okay,
because I cried when I
I cried.
seen. I know you did, but because I know you and I
Mm-hmm.
know what that I know I the gal that couldn't stand and cut my hair in one, we
Setting.
setting. We took a while. Of course, we talked, but um, let's talk about that 5K.
So my wife wanted to get back into 5K. So she did the Houston 5K she just signed up for Houston 5K, right? And she gets this list of all the 5Ks that are happening in the Houston area. And so she did the Chinese New Year one at the first of the year. And I was like, I sat and watched her do her first 5K with me as her cheerleader, right? And she's like, I would like you one of these times this year to do a 5K with me. I said, well, I can't run it, but I will gladly power walk it. She said, I'll take whatever you give me. And I said, okay, I'll do one this year. So the next one that came up, my wife walks in and she goes, so you want the good news or the bad news? And I was like, I'll take the bad news. She's like, you're going on a 5K. And I was like, okay, what's the good news? She's like, you could power walk it. Well, no, duh, because I'm not running it. She's like, I'm going to walk it with you. And I was like, perfect, because you will be my little white rabbit and I will know how to catch up to you. And that has always been us. We've had big dogs. We currently have a big dog and two little ones. So I use her and our big dog is Michael. Like, I'm trying to catch up to them and I can power walk. And I did my 5K um right almost at an hour. I want to say it was right at an hour. It's like an hour and 15 or an hour and 5. It was right there and I power
Wow.
walked that bad boy. She didn't tell me there was hills. She just said, "Oh, there's this slight decline." This slight decline. So you get to the bottom of this decline and you realize in downtown Houston in front of the national the reserve downtown that no, it's a straight uphill motion. So not only did I have to go down this slight incline, I had to go up that hill not once but twice. But it made me so proud because Sherry knows I went from being able to walk 10 steps a day with a leg brace on to being able to do a power walk 5K. And I was so proud of myself because it's
Oh,
something I've never been able to do before.
oh yeah, yeah. I when I seen that, I cried because I know. And that's the thing. That's why it's so important to have you on, and we're going to keep having you on periodically because I think it's important that people see your journey, right? it's motivating for me because I get impatient too. Becky knows that. Um,
I'm telling you,
right?
it's the worst. I am so impatient, but it has made me learn patience and just enjoying my body as its transformation, as it's transforming. People ask me
So,
all the time, well, what is your goal weight? I don't have a goal weight. I have a goal
no,
physique.
yeah.
And that changed about 3 years ago because up until 3 years ago, I had a goal weight. And then I was realizing, because it took me being in the gym, there was a girl in the gym that wanted her goal weight was 15 pounds less than what she was. But I wanted her goal weight where she was currently. And I'm like, I don't like her physique. And that's when my brain realized I'm looking for a physique and not a weight on the scale. I don't I don't weigh myself every day. I don't weigh myself monthly. I literally weigh myself quarterly. Once a quarter on the 5th of that month, I will get on the scale, I will weigh myself, I will do all my measurements, and then I don't see that scale again until the next quarter.
And you do that, why?
A lot of women get stuck in their head of seeing that number change daily, but they forget to remember menopause. They forget to remember water retention. They forget to remember hormones. They forget to remember the food that they ate. They don't weigh themselves the same time every day. They haven't had a bowel movement. They haven't used the restroom. There's so much to why women should ignore that scale because that number was based off of something from the 40s that is no longer valid in today's society. We do not have stick figures for women anymore. And so women need to realize that BMI scale, yes, it's a good indicator, but it is not going to define who you are as a person.
Go ahead, Becky. I see her. I know her faces.
I'm taking it in because
Mhm.
it is a box, and I try not to get on the soapbox here, but it is a box on the scale. It doesn't define us. It is, like you said, a good metric, right? You can track the metric. I have a scale. I end up and I do my, check-ins, but my scale also gives me, the body fat percentage. It gives you the lean mass. Okay, it may not be 100%, but it is giving me, like you said, you're after that physique, right? I want to maintain that lean muscle mass. I don't want to be losing weight and losing muscle. But also, that's where pictures, even your side picture, right? So that you can see that difference, not front, back, side, all the angles, right? And being able to get that so that you can, realize it as a full journey, not just, that metric. And you're right. It's one of those things where many people do lose that mindset because they're chasing something specific, right? They're looking at an end goal instead of, the goals that they may currently, be after, right? Setting mini goals, as I call them.
So the picture that I'm showing right now is literally 6 months difference. And I want to point that out because had you not been taking these pictures, you wouldn't know what you look like in this month versus
I
what you
would,
look like in January.
I would, and it was up until probably about 3 years ago when I still saw the bigger person in the mirror. Like when I
Mhm.
looked in the mirror, I still saw my 400-pound person. So it wasn't up until about 3 years ago that I realized I no longer see her in the mirror. And then in January, I was like, you know what? I really want to concentrate on my lifting heavy circles. And the wife was like, okay, we got this. And I put together the exercises that I currently do. And she says, I will help you tweak them um, to make it more beneficial for your goal. And this quarter that just started, I put a whole new exercise regimen together for my Monday through Thursday because I needed to switch it up for my body so I wasn't staying in the same exercise. Now, yes, some of the days have a lot of the same things that I'm doing, but I'm still targeting the same areas. But I refuse to be stagnant. I refuse to not stop until I get to my goal.
So let's go to social media. Have you got received any messages from people that really touched the you?
I have a old boss from when I lived in Washington. She reached out to me a while ago, and she was like, um, "What are you doing? I see something in the past." And she reached out to me about 2 months ago. She said, "What are you doing? What, like, literally, what are you doing? Because I've tried the fads, I've tried the diets. I don't want to do the jab. I just need to know, what am I missing?" And I was like, "I can't tell you." I said, "I did my blood work with my doctor to see what I was missing and went from there personally, so I knew what I needed to take supplement wise." I said, "But I put together my own exercise because I know what my goal is." And she's like, "I don't care. Just send me what you got." And I sent her what she got. And so today I got a message from her earlier today while I was at the gym, and she was like, "Thanks. That's dedication." And I didn't understand it till earlier today. I saw that she had posted a 4 week consistency photo of doing the same exercises that I just sent her that I've been doing. And it made a difference. Since I've done this, I've had several friends that decided to actually have gastric bypass, in the one way or another. And not everybody has had success with it. Not everybody has had the same journey, but we're never going to have the same journey in this life, period. No matter what you do, no matter if you're walking down the street or but they've had very difficult journeys with this gastric bypass. And the question I get is, what did I do wrong? I can't tell you. I can't tell you what you did wrong, because your body is different than my body. My biological sister we had the same mom, same dad. And my sister has had the worst journey of hers. She's had to have a tube put in her stomach. She is now passing out like I was, and they went to check and see if it was the same thing that I was going through, and it's not. Um, she's having a lot of underlying medical problems that, had she not had gastric, she would have never known was there. And she was frustrated. And I was like, "You got to remember, I was there too, because I didn't understand." I said, "This is because you decided to get healthy, and these were the underlying medical conditions you had that your body wasn't showing." And that's been her hardest thing to grasp and hold on to. But she too has been successful weight wise. She's just not being able to exercise because she can't exercise like I can. And then I do get a lot of comparisons, like, "Why is yours?" And I tell people, comparison is not a good thing. Yes, I've got a I've got friends that have done this, and their journey is completely different. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, "But why? Why is yours different than mine?" But I have to remind myself, this is my journey, not their journey. So my journey will always be different than theirs.
And that's where many people end up and start to feel the defeat because of the comparison. Where if we can leave the comparison out and celebrate the joys of your own journey, but many times, especially with social media, and that's where people don't get that real. They don't get that vulnerable. They don't get that, authentic self, right? We're seeing a lot of AI coming across too. And, I seen a workout gym video today that was pointing out different things in that video. And I think that's something that, people really need to tap into also is, you know, people like us, right? And I'm saying that because we're authentic, right? You're going to the gym, you're putting out the mindset, you're putting out that information, not something that, some of these leaner physique, right? And I'm not saying that everyone is doing it, but many times the bigger accounts are starting to use AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so, putting out their own content, even, right? Putting out, again, using your own journey as accountability so that you can look back and see how far you've come and just that progress that they, can make. And so, based on that authentic self, what's one lesson that you would say that you hope more women understood.
Take time for yourself, because once you start taking time for yourself, then you can take care of others around you, right? You have to be able to love yourself, take care of yourself, and honor yourself in everything that you do. And if you're not, you're just going to keep being happy. It doesn't matter how small you get. It doesn't matter how what that number is on the scale. If you don't start mentally being prepared for this, physically being prepared for this, and emotionally being prepared for this, you will never be successful at this. And it takes all three. You got to be mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for this, because it will put you through the ringer. It will. And for me, my biggest ringer is I've had to keep going to the doctors and trying to figure out. And the right now, everybody's big thing is get the jab. Okay, but my grandmother was taking Ozempic before it was making people lose weight. My grandmother never lost weight. My grandmother died at 700 pounds. So don't tell me that it's the same medicine as it was when I was 20 years old, because it's not. You've changed something in this medication that doesn't make it the same medication, because if she was not losing weight, how is all of a sudden this a weight loss miracle drug? And it's not just Ozempic. There's other ones on the market. You know what I'm saying? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's there's other things out there that you could be doing besides taking the jab. And when I go to the doctor still, that's the first thing. Well, why aren't you taking the shot? I don't have diabetes. My blood work is phenomenal. My T3, T4 is phenomenal. Yeah, I'm a little anemic. Okay, I eat a lot of ice. That was my first sign, duh. But I, as a gastric bypass patient, cannot take iron pills because it makes me constipated. Therefore, I'm not passing a bowel movement. Therefore, it causes colon cancer. It is a it just is a tumbling
Mm-hmm.
effect that I'm like, stop shoving something. Let's start having these real answers of what's going to actually work for people. And pharmaceuticals have gotten so far out of hand and so far out of control that we don't know what this is going to look like in 10 years with all these. Like, my wife said it the other day. She's like, it's going to be like these Camp Lejeune commercials we see on TV. If you were at Camp Lejeune, please call our offices. Because that's what it's going to be like, because we don't know what this is going to do to our bodies in the long run.
Yep.
It's funny because I do take it, but I take it for my type 2 diabetes.
Right.
All right, right? And am I losing the weight like every bit? No, no, I'm fighting for every ounce that I'm losing. Um, but the big thing I see with people is, like you said, you have to address the underlying causes here, right? Mine was when I finally decided to take it, had been, I was already years into my journey and my blood sugar was still out of control. So we had to address some things. I'm still working on myself with that. I'm not going to be on this forever, right? But I watch people and they don't change number 1 what they're eating. They're not working out. They're not getting adequate protein. They're not. I mean, we could go through a whole list of things. So I I'm not the person, even though I do am on the shot. If
But you
somebody
have to do
asks,
it medically wise. These people that are
correct,
taking it, that just want to lose this extra weight, that they are too lazy to go to the gym.
correct.
And I'm not, and they may not be too lazy. Let me not get that wrong, but that's how they're advertising it, is let's take the quick fix. That's the lazy man's mentality, is the quick fix.
Yeah.
If you don't fix the underlying issue, what is your relationship with food? What is your relationship with yourself? And what is your relationship with your physical activities?
I love it. Absolutely. Um, so what are you currently working on right now?
I am currently working on my physique. Like, I, for years before I met Sherry, worked in the banking and medical industry. And I have what's called chair butt. It's not dead butt, it's called chair butt, okay? So I'm currently spending a lot of effort on my exercising to change how my butt looks, not just in clothes, but when I look in the mirror, when there's no clothes on, to alter how everything changes. Um, and I'm working on my bat wings because I am still very uncomfortable with my bat wings. When I go, I've tried to see several doctors, and they look at my current BMI. They don't look at what my BMI was. They don't look at where I am physically compared to where I was physically. And so I'm having a lot of problems with just having my arm surgery, scheduling my arm surgery, because nobody wants to take that risk because they don't want to look past my current physical physique. You know, they don't care what I've been doing currently. They don't care my nutrition. They don't care my exercise regimen. It is what that number on the scale tells them because of that BMI that's put me into a box. I am like you, Becky. I have a scale that tells me how much fat-free body mass I have, how much lean muscle I have. I have 175 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
175 pounds of muscle. My BMI, I'm supposed to be 145 pounds. So explain to me how somebody who's 175 pounds of muscle is ever going to get to 145 without turning around and losing lean muscle mass.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the measurements come in, because being able to take that, right? And that's why I said it's not the most accurate, right? But being able to also take those measurements, being able to take whether it's even using the calipers to check the body fat percentage. There's other ways and metrics of going about it, right? Where many scales, though, just give you the pounds.
Mine gives me the pounds. Mine gives me the lean body mass. Mine gives me my protein, my water. Yep. There's a lot on mine now.
Do you have the Hume?
No, I have Fit Index.
Okay.
So it tells me exactly my bone mass, my protein, my BMR, my muscle mass, my skeletal muscle, my body weight, my visceral fat, my subcutaneous fat, my fat-free body weight, my body fat percentage, my BMI, and my current weight. So it may not be 100% accurate, but it still is showing me that my numbers are changing. My numbers are dropping. So I'm obviously doing something. My goal is to eventually, hopefully by next year, I would like to have a DEXA scan done by a doctor and actually see where it's at, so I can compare the numbers. That's going to be my goal for next year, is having a DEXA scan. But I want to spend a solid year of being in the gym, of putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the dedication to see where it is.
So before we wrap up, if anyone has questions, definitely put it in the chat. So we'll talk a few more minutes just in case you do have a question for Keleka. If you could go back and talk to that version of yourself that was struggling, and we both know how that feels, what would you tell her?
Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now and don't wait. I promise you the reward is going to be so much better than the journey. Because yes, my journey has been hard. Yes, my journey has had its ups and downs, but nothing worth anything isn't worth fighting for. If you want it bad enough, you're going to fight hard as hell for what you want. And I would tell her, don't give up, because there is a much better, happier you at the end of this. Because I have always been a positive person, but I didn't look positively at myself. Like, I've always thought I've been a beautiful woman. Always. You couldn't tell me otherwise. You still to this day cannot tell me otherwise. I'm very confident when it comes to my looks, even at now that your tuxedo cat is cute, by the way.
He's meowing like crazy behind me, and it's like, all right, I give up. I'll just hold you. And now that was it.
He got
Okay,
what he wanted.
he did.
But I would definitely tell her it's gonna be okay. Be gentle on yourself. Learn to love yourself wholeheartedly, mind, body, and soul, not just what externally people see.
I think that's the biggest thing that has struck me following you. Of course, like I've known you, a long time, but your mindset, and I see a glow about you that I've never seen before. And seeing that mindset change that you really have been working on yourself, that's what I'm like, we got to have her back on. Like there's been some switches flipped in the old brain, and it's like people need to hear this, right?
The Bible, and I know this is kind of weird, right? But the Bible says out of the mouths of three or more shall it be. That's Second Corinthians, right? And that really spoke to me when I was reading it one day, and it was, if I keep speaking negatively in my life, I'm going to keep getting negativity. So one day I just started speaking positivity in my life, and people are like, "You're weird," and I'm like, "I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't." But it's where it started because I was just reading my Bible one day, and it was like, you know what? If I start speaking life into myself, I will start projecting life into myself, and I will start living my life that I'm speaking. And that's when I started my journey in meditation and learning how to meditate properly, for myself, not what this new age thing is. It's for me. Your relationship with a higher being is between you and that other person, that other higher being. So for me, it's really been about changing my mindset because I was never really a negative person, but constantly making sure I'm not going down that drama course. I'm not allowing and sticking in. Now every now and then people will get you and they'll get you to gossip. I consciously, like, it is a conscious effort to stay away from everything possibly that's negative, whether it be a conversation, whether it be thoughts, whether it be what I see. It's really about changing all aspects of my mental, to look for the brighter that I always naturally saw and just make it shine even bigger.
So as you've kind of gone through this mindset, because I agree with you, working on, that positive mindset, manifesting, your reality of where you're going, right? But also that meditation side and focusing on the positives. Do you have someone that you look towards, like podcasts or, meditations or any, positivity, like,
So
Louise
in the
Hay
sauna,
or those type of things?
I spend 25 to 30 minutes in the sauna every day when I go to the gym. So I don't, I really believe music works for everybody. So I don't have people in particular that I follow. I like a little bit of everything, literally like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But as far as meditating, I spend it in the sauna meditating every day. I have a playlist that's called meditation, and it plays a lot of drums, Indian flutes, sound waves, megahertz, stuff like that I listen to while I meditate. It's not one thing. I'm a big jazz fan, so I even have one of my favorite artists in that album. So randomly, it'll just go from meditation music to I'm listening to somebody play the saxophone or somebody playing the trumpet because I love jazz music, and I just do it while meditating. And I do it every day in the gym, in the sauna, and it's funny because I went on vacation last week and we were gone, and I missed meditating in the gym. Like, I missed my sauna
Mhm.
time, I missed my gym time while on vacation, but I needed the break, you know? So when I went to the gym today, I was like, oh, the sauna. my time.
and and that is the key in the process that I've explained to a lot of my one-on-one clients too, is as you start to put in some of these simple practices, right? Your workout in the gym is intense, right? The sun is intense, but even just listening to that music, listening to that frequency, raising up that vibration, they could do it in front of a red light. They could do it laying on their floor. They could have a fancy whole setup, right? It doesn't matter. But the big thing that matters is the consistency and finding something that you resonate with, right? Your jazz works for you, right? It may be some other, genre of music, right? That resonates with someone else, right? Maybe it's classical. Who knows, right? Whatever. But finding that frequency that is going to resonate with them, or finding whatever the modality is that is going to work for them, and keeping that in there, because Sherry's right, the mindset and the shift, that is one of the biggest shifts that a lot of people don't make. And so
You're,
for you to find that is huge.
yeah, you're very right. It takes a mindset, and you've got to have a strong enough mind mentally to be able to make that transition.
I always say that the alternative is to go back to where I was before I was started down this journey, and that's not an option.
The wife and I just had that conversation today.
Yeah.
She was like, "Would you go back and say something to yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "But would you go back to who you were before?" Hell no.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I will deal with everything that I've currently dealt with this journey to get where I am now. Because if I alter anything, it will change my current results, and I do not want to change my current results.
That's huge. That's huge. Any questions out there, Becky, that you see?
I do not, but let me switch over to the other platforms and see
All
if any
right.
of them, I do not see any on those.
All right. So, where can folks find you?
I am on Instagram and I am on TikTok, and it is Mrs. Dawson to you underscore weight loss underscore journey. And it is Keleka Dawson on TikTok. And my TikTok is really about my weight loss. That's really what my weight loss on TikTok is about. I have several pages on Instagram, but my weight loss journey is Mrs. Dawson to you weight loss journey.
I love that. And I've been pronouncing your name wrong for 10 years, so there's
It's okay.
that.
It's okay. I get it all the
Eh,
time.
I know. And you've told me 1,000 times, and you just said it again, and I went, "Oh, yeah, I forgot."
It's okay. I get it all the time.
Too
As you
funny.
noticed, I answered to it. So,
You did, you did, you didn't even bat an eye because you've told me 1,000 times, so there's that whole thing. So funny. Um, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much. I miss you, first
I
of
miss you
all.
too, friend.
Yes.
I miss doing your hair.
I just miss talking because we had a connection, and it was our journey,
It was.
right? And we've never lost touch. I've moved away. I'm still in Texas, but Texas is a big state. And your journey, your wisdom, your inspiration, even back then was inspiring to me, and that was before I started my journey. Um, and your story is just so powerful, and it's a
Thank you.
reminder that no matter where we start, growth is possible when we choose ourselves and we stay focused and we keep pushing forward one day at a time.
Hmm.
And that's why I wanted you to go back and say, look at all these medical problems that you went through and look at you now, right? And it should be so inspiring to people. Um, so, any last words of advice, anything you want to say to our audience?
Drink your water, eat your protein, and make sure you get your colon checked because you need to heal your gut. Once you start healing your gut, your life will be so much better. We have been poisoned for years with the processed foods that we have been eating, that we were forced to eat by our parents not knowing any better. So we have a generation of wiser people, and we need to keep spreading that knowledge of proper nutrition, proper foods, wholesome foods, and don't pay attention to what the outside label reads. Flip the ingredient over and read the actual ingredients. Read the ingredients, because you never know what you're eating until you start reading the ingredients. And if you don't know what some of things, Google it. Google's our great friend that came along during our age. We all grew up learning Google as grown adults.
Okay.
Google is accessible now way easier than when it was when we started this, okay?
Right.
Use
Or
Google.
just
Read what you're eating. Read what you're drinking. Please.
or if you can't pronounce it, just don't eat it.
You feel me?
Stay.
That's
If
that's
you
funny.
cannot pronounce that word, don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I literally took a couple last week through the grocery store, and we're about halfway through the grocery store, and her husband said, "You haven't looked at the nutrition label." And you are correct. I haven't. We were looking at ingredients, and we were talking. They're in their 70s. They wanted they didn't want to be on the medication the doctors were wanting them to be on, and they spent an hour and a half with me in the grocery store as we went through it on things. And they started, it was funny because her husband was like, "Oh, but I like this." And he walked over, he picked it up, he flipped it over, he read the ingredient, and he went, "Oh," and put it back down. He goes, "Well, I won't be eating that anymore." So it was just an hour and a half of spending time with them. That I thought that was neat. That, and I will do that with anyone, and I can even do it through Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. We'll go through the grocery store. You can hold me up and we can do it, right? But you're right. The ingredients matters. Anything you want to add, Becky?
No, just how much I appreciate you coming back on.
I know.
This is definitely a conversation that a lot of people need to end up and listen to and hear, right? Because I don't feel like enough people are being that open and sharing. So I appreciate you for coming back on and sharing that journey.
You're welcome.
And
Anytime.
thank you to everyone listening. And if you enjoyed our conversation, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Share this podcast with a friend, especially if you think they can help it. Help what you've heard tonight can help your friend as well. Leave us a review. Let us know your biggest takeaways from tonight's discussion. So, just so everyone knows, we do go live every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So don't forget to join us. You can always watch on the replay. For those of you listening on Spotify and Apple Podcast and the other podcast platforms, the audio version. See, I didn't even try, Becky, to like
I see that.
rattle all of them off. Will be uploaded in the morning, right? We always upload those on Tuesday morning so you can catch up whenever it's convenient for you. So until next time, keep growing, keep believing in yourself, and remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time for another great conversation. And ma'am, we are having you back on in a couple of more months again.
Share anytime you want me. I'm yours. I would gladly help you guys. I don't mind because, like I said, you've been with me since we met and you've seen everything change. So I will gladly help
And,
anytime.
uh, and I am so, so incredibly honored and blessed to know you.
Oh, I feel
Thank
the
you.
same about you. Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Awesome.